Nice and
Dude,
sunny where you are. It's pitch black where I am.
yeah, it's almost 70 degrees here.
Oh my God, you're so fucking lucky. We only just got the first bit of sunlight today after like 10 days in a row.
Oh man.
It's been pretty bad. But I found this while I was like quickly
Oh,
cleaning
nice,
up.
nice.
I was quickly cleaning up my room for this when you messaged me. I was like, oh, oh crap, I need to tidy up, and I just found that. So I just thought it's
Very
probably
cool.
best for this interview here. So Ken, I just did some quick research just to do a bit of a background check. So you've actually worked on a lot of TV shows and video games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, Death Stranding, and then even some TV shows as well. One in particular I'd like to ask about is the Fallout TV show.
Yes,
So you made a couple of props for that for some of the episodes. Which ones?
yes.
Or you were a prop? Was it a fabricator? That's it.
Prop fabricator, yeah.
Yeah.
I primarily specialize in weapons, gadgets, things of that nature. So,
What in
and
particular did you make for the Fallout TV show? Because I absolutely love that one in particular.
so the items that were made for Fallout, they're not going to screen until season two. Um,
Oh, okay. Right.
yeah, I guess they don't really tell you much after you're done fabricating stuff and you ship it off. Um, because they try and keep everything hush hush, even with us guys that are working on it.
Hmm.
And unless you're actually on set all the time and you see what's going on firsthand, you're really not in the loop. And I haven't been on set. Oh God, I think the last time I was on set was it may have been Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol,
Okay.
um, and some other TV shows like Almost Human. And now I just pretty much I fabricate everything at home and then at my shop and then ship it off.
Mm.
But so I think what happened was is things that were intended for season one were so last minute. When I got involved, the show was already, oh God, probably about 80% done.
Hmm.
And some of the items that were made, they actually went back and built up a key part of the set to accommodate this stuff. So, but I think we, we'll have another, I guess, talk later on and point it
Okay.
out.
Okay. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, you reached out to me when I shared around the first podcast I did with Mick, and you actually started chatting away with me. So I just thought it might be best to get you on here for the next episode, since we only met briefly, like maybe for like a handful of minutes, over in Deadwood actually.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was I think it was for the which one was it? It was the panel, that was it. And I didn't have that ticket. I remember Erica and you was like, "Oh, here, let's quickly go and get you that before we head on to lead or lead. I forget which how
Lee,
it's pronounced.
yeah,
Lead.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I remember you. And
Hmm.
so when I saw the mix interview, I'm like, oh wow, that's a really good interview. So I
Hmm.
wanted to give you a shout out and say kudos. It was a good interview.
Thank you. Thank you. So I guess while we're here, we could talk a little bit about Tombstone Redemption. Now, I wasn't at the first one because I actually went to Las Vegas with a few mates. We went to a Fallout New Vegas event that was going on in the real life Good Springs out in the middle of the desert. But
Yeah.
I was able to go to Tombstone, or I was able to go to Deadwood, and Deadwood was amazing. I loved everyone getting to know even just the people going to it, like Jenna and Javi and just all them and Erica, amazing people. So
Mhm.
we've talked on and off about this next adventure being Tombstone Redemption 2, Electric Boogaloo. So I'm just kind of wondering what's the plan you got going on here? It's a pretty
Well,
open question, but
oh yeah. Well, the first event was that was very trying and difficult because trying to put something together. As you know, you mentioned about the Fallout event. I had just found out about that. I think my wife pointed that out to me like last month. She said, "Hey, did you ever see this thing?" And I'm like, see, someone else is thinking, make immersive experiences for the younger generation, and it works. So, but Tombstone, the first one, that one was, trying to put together this whole immersive experience. It was a lot of work. It was 7 months nonstop, and the tried to top it in Deadwood, but we had to make a lot of changes to the event for growth. I mean, excuse me, you just can't say, I want to do this, want to do that, want to do this. It all comes down to, if money, that's the bottom line, is everything costs money. Each individual place at the event has its own costs. And so it's very trying. And so we had to monetize the event for Deadwood, and it was still a very huge success. I mean, it was a good turnout. Deadwood loved everybody there. The city loved the fresh, non-drinking crowd that came in. It was something different, and so putting Tombstone 2 back, I wanted to do something more and different. So I'm changing the experience a little bit. Now, in the first two events, we brought a lot of the main characters from RDR2, and we brought them back a couple of times. But as I mentioned numerous times, is I wanted to make the event more immersive, but I also wanted to make it more inclusive. I wanted to go after a lot of these characters that don't do conventions. They've never been asked to do any. They don't do autographs, but you've played the scenes that they're in, like these side missions and things like that. So this year I want to look at Red Dead 1
Mhm.
and Undead Nightmare. And I thought, let's do a Halloween special, and let's do it on actually on Halloween, October 31st, Friday, and uh,
Nice.
and Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, there's a lot to the event this
I
year.
think it'll probably be better that it is going to be around October because I mean as I said I was in Las Vegas and I was in Arizona briefly. We went to the Grand Canyon, but the just the temperatures there, I'd imagine
Oh yeah,
during the summer, like the last Tombstone event, like if the queues are going to be as long as I saw in Deadwood, it, you
yeah.
know it'd probably be best. Yeah, I think October is probably a better time to do it then.
Yeah. Well, when we had it the last time in Tombstone, it was a fluke, the temperatures. We hit triple digits, which is not common for our elevation. If you go to Tucson or Phoenix or Yuma, you might see 120s. Here, it'll be, in the 80s or 90s, at most. But so October this past year was very nice. I mean, it wasn't cold, it wasn't hot, and I'm hoping the weather will be the same next year. But you're right. I mean, the lines, the amount of lines, it's very difficult to overcome that, because if you've got, this actor has so much of a fan following, and this actor's got so much of a fan following, and you've got a line that's 6 blocks long, well, each one of them want to see that one person. There's nothing you could do
Hmm.
to make that line go faster. And that's why this year we're incorporating a couple things. So if you ever watch the Oscars, you'll hear them play the music, tell people to wrap it up and stop talking. So I created a little box. It's about this big, and I'm calling it the wrap it up box. So it's got one light on it and one button, and the light will be green. So when a fan comes up to an actor, my handler will, take their money or whatever, know what they're going to be doing as far as pictures or whatever. And as soon as that's going on, as soon as they're done, they hit that button, and then there's a 3-minute timer. And when that timer's done, that light turns red. That tells everybody right there, the actor, the handler, and the fan, it's time to make, make way for the next fan who's been waiting just like they have. I think that will help. We are doing 3 days again for this event, whereas Tombstone it was only 2 days. And we're incorporating a few other things to kind of shorten that line and make it flow a little bit faster.
Can you, since I wasn't actually at the first Tombstone, can you tell me just a little bit of the stuff that maybe went on in the planning and preparation? Like I remember I saw a picture of it was a wagon that had like black water on the side of it. So
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing some of your live streams talking about Deadwood and some of the plans you had. Like I remember you mentioned one time of some butcher or something, and you were going to set up like a stall for them to like sell food and stuff. I don't know if that fully went ahead, but I presume Tombstone was very similar. And um,
Tombstone, when I was first kicking it around, it really was only, the Rob and Peter Blomquist. That was it. I was talking to Rob, and I had kicked around this idea because, when I first moved to Tombstone, there was no kids. I mean, we have a fantastic school, but the kids are bussed in from all over the place. So I was telling my wife, as we walked around Tombstone, we're like, where are all the kids? Where is everybody? And well, our economy was, it's pretty bad here. I mean, we rely on tourism, and there's other places in Arizona that are doing 1.5 million in tourism a year. We're doing 350,000. We're not doing as much as we could, and so I decided let me try and help by putting on an event that's different. It's new. It's fresh. And I reached out to Rob and told him what I wanted to do, uh, and he had mentioned when I brought this up to him, he said, it's funny you mentioned that because a couple of years ago we were talking, meaning the cast, some of the cast were talking about how they could go somewhere to get together, so they could see each other again. So this was like a great opportunity for them to all come together. And well, anyways, meanwhile, as they started talking to other actors, the actor list grew and grew and grew. And then I was getting emails from actors that heard it from other actors and they wanted to get involved. Next thing you know, it went from 2 people to 4 people to 5, 6, and then I had the initial 5 listed and then it just kept growing. And then I decided, I've said this so many times before, if you want to put on a really good event like Disney, have all those things going on, you look at what makes a nerd, what makes a geek. Why do people dress up and go and have fun? And it's them, expressing themselves. And so you look at that, and that's your market. That's really the key. So we're trying to keep history alive here. So I tried to make a physical connection with Tombstone's history and the game and create this immersive experience. You mentioned the wagon. I thought, how cool would it be if I could find a wagon that looks like one from Blackwater and build it up and then put it on the street and let it go up and down. Fans will catch it out of their eye and they'll look at it, and it's that instant connection. It gets them all excited. So in town here, the mayor, he runs the stagecoach stagecoaches here. So I went to him and I asked him if I could build up one of his broken down, he had, older wagons he had that he really wasn't using. And so we struck a deal, and this wagon was built, to get it as close to the artwork as possible, because some of these wagons, could cost, $25,000-$30,000.
oh wow.
And so yeah, that was just one of the things. And then changing signage on the different buildings and things like that. and you look at, we have a visitor center. So it really doesn't see a lot of traffic. People come to Tombstone, they go in there onesie, twosie, and that's about it. Not a lot of people. So I thought, okay, that visitor center used to be our bank back in the day. And I figured, well, change the signage on the bank to Blackwater. We know that the famous heist, was in Blackwater. I know it was on a ferry and stuff, but so I thought, well, let's recreate the Blackwater Bank, make these bank bags. I did 500 of these bank bags, filled them with some merch, and gave them out as free, giveaways. So the fans could come in, rob the bank, and they're going in the visitor center. They could see all the pamphlets, what you could do in Tombstone. So it's promoting Tombstone in the history, but it's also making a connection to the game. So I did this around the town in various different ways, and it was a hit.
Is this going to be the same stuff that'll be returning for the second Tombstone as well? Is
Yeah,
that the plan?
we're gonna up the game a little bit, and so in Deadwood, I don't know if you caught the show with Joey Dillon and Luke Rollins, the gun twirling and the fire
Oh, I did
lassos.
watch that. They were the two guys on the stage. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
watch them. Yeah, yeah.
So they work in the industry as well. So there's some projects that I've worked on that they've worked on. Loop also was on Fallout, and
Yeah.
he was Goggins' stunt double.
Oh,
And so
no
he's
way.
with the rope tricks and stuff and the hat
Yeah.
twirling. Yeah, that was Luke Rollins. And
Oh, fuck. That's cool.
so yeah, so we got a chuckle out of that one. And but so we're gonna have Luke Rollins, Joey Dillon here. And then I've got hopefully, if the contract goes, everything goes well, we'll have someone who was in the first game. He's one of the main characters in there.
I
Um,
think I might have a guess.
you want to
Uh,
guess?
I think it's Irish, but I could be wrong. I could
Well,
be
you're
wrong.
getting
I
ahead of
don't.
yourself now. You're getting. Oh yeah, yeah. No, yeah, we'll talk about Harrison in a minute. So no, there's a gentleman. His name's Anthony DeLongis. Now,
Okay.
Anthony DeLongis played the Marshal in RDR1, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, well, Anthony DeLongis in real life trained Harrison Ford how to use the bullwhip. He trained Michelle Pfeiffer when she played in the one Batman as Catwoman. He trained her how to use the bullwhip. And so he actually would love to perform and on stage. So we may have Luke Rollins, Joey Dillon, Anthony DeLongis. Let's see what else. We've got 5 different tribes that I'm working with right now to
Hmm.
come out and perform. Native Americans will be there. So we're going to have all kinds of regalia. We're going to have different kinds of dance. And these are 5 different tribes, like, Comanche, Apache, Cherokee, Yaqui, and so we're gonna step it up. So right now, we have this one area where we have this shootout arena where they have bull riding. So that's where all the performances are going to be done there. Then in this open area, it's huge. We're going to have, when you come down this hill into this open area, you're going to have all these teepees where Native Americans are going to be dressed in their regalia. They're going to be selling artwork, original jewelry. Then off to the side, you're going to see Horseshoe campsite, which is going to be larger this time. We added to it. In the center is going to be the chuck wagon, which will be serving real food. Then off to the another section of this, we're going to have a ranger station where we'll have real Arizona Rangers there with mounted horse patrols, and the horses will be lashed to the posts there because they're going to be providing security. So this atmosphere is going to be really cool, and that's just some of what we got in that area.
Well, you're already making me excited. That hasn't even happened yet. Oh my God,
Yep.
this sounds
And
really good.
autographs this year will be at the OK Corral.
Okay.
And I
Were they at
figured,
the OK Corral in the previous Tombstone?
no, we had them at a saloon the previous one. So,
Okay.
but this one here, we figured, you think Tombstone. It really isn't about the saloons. It really wasn't. If you ask people what do they recall of Tombstone, they only recall a 30-second gunfight. That's it. If we didn't have that 30-second gunfight between the Earps and the McClalleys and their, I guess Tombstone wouldn't even be on the map probably. But there's so much rich history here um, that had nothing to do with the Earps. And so the OK Corral, I figured, well, let's have it there because it's something people can make a connection with right away, right? And
Hmm.
so where we're going to have all them sitting is if you enter the OK Corral, there's a bunch of stables all the way down. So they're going to be in front of those stables. So if you're taking pictures with the fans are taking pictures with them, the backdrop will be where the stables are, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I've got a
Nice.
blacksmith that's going to be in there. He's going to be making themed trinkets and things like that you could
Okay.
buy. And I mean, he's a real blacksmith that actually works in the OK Corral. He has his own little shop there.
Wow.
Um, so we got some cool stuff. We got just a lot of new things. SAS, which is the Single Action Shooter Society, is coming out. We're going to do 6 lanes of shooting, wax bullets. So it's going to be real guns. We're trying to get rifles and shotguns involved in that. And so they're going to have a huge presence there. And that will be down near the arena where the teepees and the tents will be. Um, Trying to think, there's a lot of stuff we got planned this year.
I was looking at hotels and stuff, so I have pre-booked a place. So I'll work it out as we get closer to the time. I heard as well, I think you mentioned something about the mine in one of
Oh
your live
yeah,
streams.
yeah. So the haunted part of the event. So the event's name, I don't think I mentioned it, was it's called Tombstone Redemption: Outlaws and Afterlife,
Mhm.
and so we're gonna have the haunted mines.
You know what you should do? See if you can get Rob to dress up as dead John Marston. If someone has like the props or something. I don't know if he'd do it, but I think that'd be kind of funny.
I'm bringing in a professional group of actors that do Halloween stuff every year, and they're going to come in and they're going to be dressed up, as the cowboy zombies and stuff. We're going to have smoke down in the mines. We're going to all kinds of cool things. And sometime next week, I'll be touring back down there with the manager so that we could go over some things and start prepping those areas. But yeah, that's going to be cool too.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Like, is this just gonna be something like people will go into different rooms and experience different things, or what's uh what's the is it gonna be kind of like a tour, like you walk through the whole thing and then out, like you go in one way and maybe out the other, or
Yeah. So the way it works is, I mean, they're real mines. I
hmm,
mean, these are the real mines from back in the day. And as you're going through there, we're going to try and incorporate a history tour where you could see the burn marks on the wall, on the rock, where the miners' lanterns that they wore were burning, or the candles they had setting on the rocks. You could see some of the wax strippings from that are still there. So you're going to get a little bit of a history, but you're also going to get scared. You're going to,
nice.
have the people jumping out, and we're going to have the smoke, the fog machines going. And but yeah, it's tunnels that go. They're long, windy tunnels and stuff, and And naturally, we're going to look at sections of the mine that are safe to do stuff like this. So in areas where you have to pay attention, we're not gonna have the scary stuff there because we don't want anybody getting hurt, because it is a mine, right? And but they have one section that is a huge open cavern. So you have this tunnel, you go through these tunnels, and then you go down these wire ladders. I mean, it's pretty cool. And then you get into this big open room. So what they do down there is dinner and a show. So they got people that are dressed up as people from the past,
Okay.
real people, and they tell their life story, from their perspective, while you have a dinner down there, and the dinner is tailored to something you would have had back in the day. So they bring the food down this chute through a hole in the ground, and oh, it's awesome. I mean, you're sitting on
This
like
sounds incredible. Oh my
oh,
God.
dude, you're sitting on these dynamite crates, and for seats and stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we're going to incorporate that into the experience as well.
I don't know. I really am excited to see what is. I'm excited to see Tombstone in general. To be fair,
Yeah.
like Deadwood was just nice. It was just a nice, relaxing place. I would imagine Tombstone to be a very similar atmosphere all around.
Tombstone is 100% different atmosphere than Deadwood. See, if
Really?
you look at,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, people that went to Deadwood, a lot of people looked at the main historic section, and they thought it was too modern. But those buildings were the real buildings. I mean, when the place burnt down, they rebuilt in brick, but those buildings, I mean, those are real buildings from back in the day. But they're the way it looks more like a city from the period than a town. Now, Tombstone, was a mining town, and when you come here, it's going to look more like something from the video game. It's going to look like Tumbleweed or
Hmm.
Armadillo or something like that. And you're going to have the wood boardwalk. You're going to have the dirt on the ground, not cobblestone. Um, and so it's going to be a totally different atmosphere than Deadwood, but still very, very Western. But the thing is most of the fans that went to both events can relate more to Tombstone than the Deadwood, because Deadwood doesn't have a look of anything in the game. Like you can look at New Orleans. Well, we know Saint Denis would look like New Orleans, but all the other places in the game really don't appeal as much, relate too much to Deadwood, but you will see it when you come to Tombstone. You'll get that instant feel.
Do you think like there'll be much more buildings and companies involved in the Tombstone than in Deadwood, or much
Yes.
more groups involved?
Yeah, see,
Okay.
Deadwood, this will be their second time. So the merchants know what to expect. The city knows what to expect. More merchants want to be involved. So we're going to have like the ice cream shop here. The last time they were here, we had the event here. I had the ice cream shop make a specific ice cream themed for the event. Then they're going to do the same thing this year. This time we're creating something that's got southwestern colors, but then there's going to be some like green zombie gummy bears, or not gummy bears, but gummy cowboys on the
Right.
top. So give it a little bit of that undead nightmare feel. And then Nellie's Wicks and Bricks. She does soap. So for the first event, I had her create this themed event soap, and that was fantastic. That sold out. And so we're going to redo it again. This time she wants to look at something. Well, I won't say what she wants to do, but because I don't want to spoil it. But she's getting more creative with the soap. Then there's another merchant uptown that's they've got an indoor gun range that we're going to have characters from the game, their silhouettes that you could shoot at, and we're going to come up with names for that place. And but yeah, we're going to have more interaction with the different places. I also, one of the other things I forgot to mention, down at the arena. That's now the arena. The way we're setting it up this year is the bulk of it is going to be on this property right next to Allen Street, so it's right there, and then we've got stuff up on Allen Street, so it's more spread out than it was the first time around. But we're going to bring in this company that's going to have archery and axe throwing competitions.
Nice.
Oh yeah, so they're going to be down there as well, and we're going to make some zombie targets, Western themed zombie targets. I started taking stills, screen grabs from the game of some of these zombies and stuff. We're going to try and recreate them so that you could throw axes at them and you could shoot arrows at them. So yeah, we're stepping it up quite a bit this time.
That's definitely going to be something I'll have to partake in. Um, what about some of the actors that you know are coming to this? Are you able to talk a little bit about that, or is that kind of secret for the moment?
Well, we're doing things differently this year. Like I said, a lot of the actors, I've had the same actors for the first two events. And, just give you an example. The first event, I initially had a couple, then it went to five. And I think I brought 14 actors. Then in Deadwood, I had actors that wanted to come, but I had the same actors from the first event because I gave them first picks. I said, listen, you guys you were here the first time around. You guys are all invited back if you want to come first before I add six more. And I added six more people and made it 20. Right now, I have 29 actors on my list, and most of them weren't from the first two events. Right. And so like I said, I want to be more inclusive, and I want to try something, new. You look at Roger and Ben and Peter and Alex and Rob. You see them at all these conventions all the time. So I have to make a decision here. Do I bring these guys back? Do I extend the invitation to all the same people? Or do I go after those that have never been at any conventions or done any autographs and put a whole new list together of people to bring in from the first game and the Undead Nightmare game? And that's what I'm kind of leaning more towards that. Yes, I'm bringing people back from the first two events. You look at Robert Bogue, guy didn't do any autographs, conventions or nothing. I call him up on the first event because I'm like, hey man, you put the red in Red Dead, Red Harlow.
Red Harlow, yeah.
And his first comment to me was, Ken, I thought everybody forgot about me. So I'm like, now you're coming. So yeah, I'm going to have Robert Bogue back. And again, any names I'm throwing out, these are me just telling you who I'm looking at, but no contracts are completed at this time because I'm waiting for the artwork to get finished for the new poster, and a couple other things to get done first before I start listing the different actors. But I could tell you, Harrison, who played Irish, that guy's a hoot, he's expressed an interest since the first event that he's wanted to come. So I look at, do I bring someone that's already been to two events, or do I give this gentleman an opportunity to come? I can't. It always
Hmm.
comes down to money. How much money can you spend on this? Well, if I bring everyone back plus six more, and then oh my goodness, it gets too costly. So
Yeah.
we gotta look at some people. So you know,
There's a
characters
lot
like
to
Bonnie
manage.
McFarlane. I mean, let's look at Bonnie McFarlane and her dad. Let's look at Irish. I've invited Mick back. I recently sent something out to him and I said, hey, man, I would love to have you back, or, like Jim Santangeli, who played Pearson, because I've got something going down at the campsite this time around. And I thought I'd make a connection with that, with the Chuck Wagon. And, but I've got actors they're main actors that are part of side missions or character or part of the main mission storyline that nobody's even thought about,
Hmm.
and bringing
Okay.
them. And I've made connection with a lot of them, and they all want to come. So it's looking good.
Characters that no one can think of. You said 29, so it's like it's gonna be like
29,
a needle
yeah,
in a haystack trying to like figure out which ones. Uh,
29 actors, and most of them are not from the first two events.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see Bonnie McFarlane actually. I love Bonnie McFarlane the first game, so I'd love to
Yeah.
get a signature. That picture over there actually is what I had most of the actors. That
Yeah.
red one, I got a lot of them to sign it, so might
See,
bring it
that's the
back.
thing. That's the thing I'm trying to, what you just said, I would love to get her autograph. Here's the thing, you know, most of the hardcore fans are going to all these conventions and they're getting the same autograph over and over and over again. And
Hmm.
you have the four or five guys and gals that are going to these events, but then you got all these others that they contributed to the game, the experience, and they would love to come out. And they've expressed an interest that they would like to be involved. So, what better place but to put all these people that don't do conventions in one location for a super fan to come out and say, these are all fresh autographs. Nobody's got them, or very little people got them.
Hmm.
This is an opportunity to get them all, and that's what I'm trying to do. And Kimberly, I've reached out to her, and we've back and forth with the text messaging, and yeah, I would love to have Bonnie McFarland, and a few others. There's 29 that I've reached out to that communicated with that are very interested in coming out and being a part of this event. Yeah.
I just peeked in. My dad's actually watching Tombstone, the movie, up in the sitting
Oh,
room, and it was the bit with where I've forgotten the character's name, but he's like drunk and he's like looking to start a fight, and then Doc Holliday is like, "I'm your Huckleberry," and he's just there with the revolver behind his back.
oh yeah,
Um,
you're talking about Michael Bean's character.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Johnny Ringo.
Yes,
Johnny
Johnny
Ringo.
Ringo. That was it. And he starts taking the
Yeah,
piss out of him with the cup in one of the previous scenes. So
yeah,
good. I don't know. I think actually getting to see the real life Tombstone then, just seeing all these movies and video games like Red Dead is going to be just incredibly immersive for so many audiences
yeah.
who have such a passion for this, I guess, genre.
Like I said,
Um,
we got a lot of cool stuff going on. We're going to have two panels this year, and the panels will be at the OK Corral. I'm still working out the details with the owners of that. I've met with their main manager yesterday and spoke to her about utilizing where they do the gunfights. So it's stadium seating,
mhm.
and that means nobody's heads are going to be in anyone's way. Because the last time I had it in Tombstone, I had it at Shefflin Hall, but everyone's sitting at the same height. And so there's a lot of feedback from people that were a little. Some of them were disappointed because you're in an old 1800s building. There is no air conditioning. That's Shefflin Hall is what it was back then. I mean,
Hmm.
there's no swamp coolers to take the chill off. It gets hot in there. So I figured, well, let's try something different. And OK Corral with the stadium seating, it can hold like 250 people. So we're going to do two panels. One, it's either going to be Friday and Saturday or Saturday and Sunday. I haven't figured it out yet, but yeah.
That'll
And the
be
actors will be right on the other side of the wall doing autographs. So it's easier on them to just, they don't have to travel anywhere. You guys don't have to travel to lead. The only reason why I wanted in the lead was when I went and I looked at the Opera House and saw how the remnants of the fire. And then I started talking to the manager there and I said, is there any way that we could get the lighting guys to put red gels over the lights so we could have this light shining on the black burnt walls and stuff and give that Red Dead feel. So that's why I decided let's take it to lead because I think it's an experience that everybody would love to have. Yeah.
it really brings in the atmosphere then of
Yeah.
Red Dead entirely. Yeah, I think just as you said with the the seating arrangement, I think Tombstone will probably be better. Is it indoors or outdoor at the OK Corral? This 250 seating.
So it's going to be all right. So they're where they have their gunfights. It's outdoors, and they've got this awning over top for shade and stuff. And so it is October 31st. So it's a hit or miss. It's either this past October we had beautiful weather. I mean, it was like 65. It was awesome. Um, so we don't know. It's will it be colder or just as warm as it was this past year? And but when you're in Arizona, it's really tough to say, hey, I want Hawaii all year round, same weather every single day. I just can't make that happen. And like I've told fans numerous times, this event was not made to be in a big metal box, a convention center that's climate controlled. That's not the experience. The experience is if you're in the game and you're going up into the hills where you're knee deep of snow, are you going to wait for Miss Grimshaw to yell at you to put on a coat and make sure you're warm? Or are you just going to, go in a t-shirt? So in real life, if it's really hot out, please don't wear the black dusters over
Mm.
top of the black wool vests and the black shirt and the black. Don't do that because this ain't a video game. You're really gonna get hot.
Mm.
You could tell people stay hydrated. Drink water. Just stay hydrated. Um, uh, so October, now's the time to think about packing the duster, packing the wool coat, packing because it may get cold, it may be chilly at night. Definitely bring those, keeping that in mind. Go on, like, I'm sure there's weather, national weather that gives you so many years back of all the weather for all the days. Just look up what's Tombstone, Arizona's average temperatures for October 31st and engage it on that and dress appropriately. But here's the thing, Alan, I'm trying to make sure everybody understands. There will be long lines. There's nothing I could do about that. Um, it just is what it is because even if we move everybody, we limit everybody to 3 minutes per actor. That's still a lot of people and it's still a huge line. So however, here's something new. So I've got people that are going to go up and down the lines, like ball games. They have the old, the I'm trying to think what they used to call them, the ball girl or the hot dog girl. She would go around with a box, with a strap around her neck, and she'd
Oh,
sell hot dogs and beer and stuff. All
mm-hmm.
right, so we're gonna have those people going up and down the line. What do you want? What do you want? You snacks, drinks, and then take your garbage from you. We're gonna have that, so you don't have to worry about sending someone else to go get that. So we're gonna make sure that line, there's people going up and down those lines, making sure, people have the option of getting some water or snacks. I have one guy who has a food place here, wants to go up and down with. He's going to come up with a limited edition sandwiches and stuff like that, and hot dogs, so that you guys can, get those if you're really hungry. Because if you got somebody that's waiting in line for 11 hours or 9 hours, the last thing they want to do afterwards is wait in another line for an hour and a half, 2 hours to get into a restaurant. So we're going to try and help with that. Down at the arena, we're going to have food trucks. We're going to have food available. We're going to have one of the most awesome barbecue places serving barbecue, and then another place that's coming out that makes the best sandwiches on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. They're going to come out, and we're going to make sure everybody has opportunities to stay hydrated and fed.
Awesome. Yeah, that was definitely something I remember in Deadwood when I was queuing for actually to get this. I remember just how absolutely hot it was, and I
Yeah.
just had to ask the person behind me, I'm going to go get a couple of bottles of water. I'll get you one if you can just hold my space here." And I went and got a couple of bottles of water, and he was like, "Yeah, cool." So, it was cool like that. But yeah, I think having someone going up and down, definitely with bottles of water, I think would
Yeah.
be very helpful.
And then, you brought up about the line for getting your tickets and your badges and stuff. So that was something else. We ran into another snag in Deadwood, was people, in line to get their badges. They were waiting until they were right there at the desk to start, looking for their emails for their receipt. And it's like, there were so many. I want to say like 30% of the people that came up were looking for their receipt. And it's like, it got to a point where I got a little, and I got passionate, and I went down the line. I said, people, please, get it ready right now. Everyone's on their phones and talking and having a great time, but we want to shorten them lines, So it's like this year, there's no phone, there's no barcode going to be on the phone. You have to have the printed receipt with the barcode on the receipt. This way, it's already in your hand. You don't have to worry about looking in your phone. So you got to print it off. When you pay for your tickets, you print that receipt off and you put it away until the event. You bring the tickets with you, the paper tickets, you hand it in, we scan it. We'll know if you already checked in or not. You get your badge and it's done. That is to help mitigate those lines as well. Everybody's having a good time, and the last thing they're thinking about is, let me check my email, because they're seeing people they've never seen before, but they've talked online, so they're really, I understand that. And it's just, we're trying to mitigate the line. So I'm asking for the fans to just kind of help a little bit with that.
I think so far it sounds like you have like the structure of it a little bit more planned
Yeah.
out now. So um, hopefully it works out a lot better, because
Yeah.
have physically seen how long these lines genuinely get, and how passionate people are at just waiting 10 hours just to literally go and get something signed.
I've
It's
never seen any group of individuals endure
hmm,
and be so amazing at the same time, and so understanding. The patience, I got to tell you, I'm actually proud that when I spoke about the fans to the city of Deadwood and everybody in Tombstone and said, how respectful, but also just how passionate they are about this game, how tolerant they were of the lines. Really, I'm really proud that I'm able to uh, be a part of this journey with everybody in this event.
I'll give you a good example. I remember on the Saturday of Deadwood, I got up really early, about maybe 6:30 in the morning, and I remember walking down the street completely empty, and I think there was one person waiting outside of Saloon 10, and it was the girl dressed up as Madame Lazare. I think that's Red Dead Photography. I could be wrong. I didn't say anything to her, but I'd recognized her anyway. But then I was like, look, it's still pretty early. I walked up the hill to the cemetery and then came back down, and then there was already, this is about maybe 15 minutes after 7, maybe half 7, and people are already starting to queue up, like Erica and a few others. And it's still another 3 hours until this door opens to
Yeah,
go see the actors, you know? Like that's genuinely the stuff people are kind of um waiting for. And it's, as you
yeah.
said, it's great. It's a great community and great understanding. Um
With an event like this, it's I don't have this big crew of corporate people helping put this together. You're talking to the crew, right now. This is it. But when you're putting something like this together and you're as passionate as the fans are, and you want to create this immersive experience, everything that you add puts more of a weight load on you, workload. And, sometimes the fans may not see that
mm,
and not understand that, um, you know, it does get frustrating at times to do certain things. But it's an event this will be only the third time, so it's a growing thing. And there's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be, people that get upset, and you just got to kind of work through it. But I just want fans to know that, uh, just gotta everybody just be kind to each other, and let's keep growing it.
Actually, there was something I wanted to ask. I don't know if you did it in Tombstone, but I remember you were saying you were going to do it in Deadwood, but I don't think you got permission to do it. And that was with all the wanted posters and stuff, like Red Dead posters that you wanted to put up around the place. Do you think you'll have permission in Tombstone to do
Yeah,
that?
it wasn't about permission. It was literally, all right. So when you're working, all right. So Tombstone knows what to expect. They if, I guess the
They've
funny
been through
comment
it.
to say here is this isn't their first rodeo, right?
Right.
So they've seen they've seen the event. They know what to expect. They know what I'm going to do. So they already know. When I went to Deadwood, I had to ask them to put their faith in me and just let me do some things that they wouldn't do for any organization coming in there. They let me get away with a lot of stuff based on faith. But what some of the things you have to understand is every little thing I did, you've got a fire marshal that has to be involved. The police department has to be involved. Medical personnel have to be involved. I mean, and then you got to get the commission, the mayor, everyone has some kind of say in this whole thing. Then, if I want to put a poster on a building, well, is it in the historic district? Well, if it's in the historic district, now you've got to deal with the historic committee overseeing what kind of signage, only particular fonts you can use, period. Like it gets
Oh,
so
what?
involved. Oh yeah. You
Oh,
can't
wow.
hang. Oh yeah. So it gets very tricky. So in Deadwood, there is a process that one of their people. I can't remember the gentleman's name for the love of God, but he works with the city. He's one of their main directors. And he said, maybe we shouldn't have this event this year, but wait until 2026 or 2025. This way,
Okay.
you have more time to go through all of the channels and all of the paperwork and the red tape and the permits and all this and that. Believe me, there's a lot of stuff involved. And then I was flying back and forth to Deadwood for these meetings to make it happen. And each time you fly, it's like $3,000, $4,000 bill just to go and have meetings and hotel and food and everything. So you do that 4 times, I just have to reiterate to the fans that that's like, why tickets are what they cost, because everything has, permit fees and everything has a cost, and it's massive. It's massive. And
Sorry, yeah, my dog in the background just.
what is that, a corgi?
No, she's hello.
Oh, there we go.
Hello. Her name's Daisy. She's a mix between a Chihuahua and a Yorkshire Terrier. I think they call them Chalkies. And yeah, she's been in the family for over a decade. Got her in the pound. Lovely little thing. Can be very hyperactive at
Yeah.
times. But
We got 2 miniature pinchers, and yeah.
she's
But
adorable.
so
Yeah. So yeah,
this
the
is
planning and
yeah,
preparation, what you're saying, it's
yeah,
from what I'm hearing, it takes a lot out of you really just to get it like sorted, you know?
yeah. Now coming back to Tombstone, I've kind of um, it was a little easier this time around because I know everyone. I live in Tombstone, so I know everybody here. I know who to go to. I know the process. Plus, I already had the basic blueprint done, from the first event and the second event. So I just have to build and modify that. So, and going back to those wanted posters, I had made all these posters up, and I didn't get an opportunity to hang them up, and I was a little bummed about it. But as we got closer to the event, I had to prioritize what needed to get done first.
I got it.
But yes, the bounty board. We're gonna have the bounty board. We're gonna have the wanted posters in Tombstone. In fact, in the first Tombstone Redemption event, we did have a bounty board, and there was wanted posters up, and it was of some of the outlaws that play characters in town. We're putting
Mhm.
their wanted posters up there, and yeah,
Because I wanted to ask you this in person in Deadwood, right? So I printed off a couple of these. These are my custom characters from the videos that I sent you links to, and
oh yeah.
they're just custom like wanted posters that I had made. Um, and I was
So you
wondering,
want to put them up on the board? You want to put them up on the
yeah,
board? And yeah, yeah. Bring them
if
with.
absolutely
Bring them
that,
with.
yeah, I'd love to do that, and it's
So I said we have the ranger station, which these are real Arizona Rangers that are going to be there. So the bounty board's going to be right there.
okay.
Um, so we got to figure out how we're going to have the horses staged, because we don't want people walking behind the horses, because they could get kicked, and so we got to be careful with that. And those will be mounted patrols. Like, we will have them up and down the streets on mounted patrols. So we're going to have it in such a way where you won't be, getting too close to horses, but there will be a bounty board there. And yeah, no, bring them with, man. We'll hang them up.
Oh, nice. That would be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was hoping to do that in Deadwood, but then I just saw like none of them around. And I think I think I might have asked you when we had met, and you had shown me like just the pile of posters that had been printed off in like I went into a tent and it was just there on the table. But
dude,
yeah, that's unfortunate.
there's a woman. Her and her brother were instrumental in getting me a lot of uh, artwork and stuff from the game,
Hmm.
that I could recreate things. Like, if you went to the museum that was there, I had the big
Hmm.
banner hanging up with the oh god, the Totalosaurus or whatever it was they called it. I had that up there. Well, she helped me with that. Well, she went in there and got me all. They went looking. It was her and someone else went looking for all of the posters in all the games and online, and just started sending me the real posters, and I printed them off life size, and it was pretty cool.
Oh God, hold on. I've just after losing my complete train of thought there. I was going to ask something. Um, no, no, that's gone now.
Yeah, that's me every day.
I'm only 26, so it's already happening.
Dude, wait till you get my age, man. It's like your list is 10 things you need to get done. If you add something to that list, the first item on the list gets bumped off, and you'll never forget, you'll never remember that, whatever got bumped off. But I want to mention this also about tickets. So this time, the shows were free to anybody in Deadwood and Tombstone, where you could see, Joey Dillon twirling guns and stuff. Um, that's not the case this time. What's going to happen is uh, Joey and Loop and all of them will be part of the general admission and the VIP passes. So it's not going to bump up the price by any means. It's just if you come to the event and you're not buying a pass, you're not going to get to see them because it's going to be in an enclosed arena where they do bull riding and stuff. So you can't even get into that area without a badge. And we're doing that because we're trying to contain, uh, you know, an area where you got a badge, you can get in. It's for security reasons. It's for, just more control over this. I want this immersive experience to be something that once you walk into it, it hits you. And so we're going to try something new and different. But but now instead of sitting on the ground, you're going to be in an arena where they have bull riding, where we've got all this stadium seating again, and they're going to be down in the center performing. It's going to be a lot better. That's where the Native Americans will be doing their dances. Also, cosplay contests that will be down there as well. Yeah, it's going to be a
Actually,
lot better.
I did the cosplay contest in Deadwood, but there was some people that were there were just fantastic, like their costumes and everything, and then mine was just bits I just thrown together. But I had no idea when you were going on the stage that you had to like do a little performance or do a line or something, and I was like, I had nothing prepared. I was like, I just thought I had to dress up, so I just remember walking up. And I was like, I just went up to the microphone. I was like, lads, look, I have nothing prepared for this. I wish everyone here the best of luck. I was dressed up as Jack Marston. So I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think I might have shouted like "work you damn nag" or something down the microphone, and then went off stage. Actually, I've just remembered what I was going to say. So, with you've seen some of the videos, or maybe you've had a quick look at some of the videos on my YouTube channel. Like I've made these like story videos on both Grand Theft Auto 5 and on Red Dead Redemption 2. And with Red Dead Redemption 2 it was a lot harder to do because I had to actually get the game on PC and then mod it and kind of tweak some of the files to put in like custom characters and have their mouths moving and move the camera around and record the screen. Um, but I wanted to ask you, is there any promotional material, maybe like any pictures in game in Red Dead Redemption 2, like that you could think of, like maybe uh, um, Arthur and Dutch standing outside a building or something, just any random kind of pictures. Like I'd be able to do it. I don't know if you can use in-game um, pictures like that for advertising for your event.
No, that's kind of an agreement I have with the attorneys with Take Two is, not, and I made a promise, you don't cross that fine line. So I don't have anything that's directly part of, because the event again isn't, it's not affiliated with Take Two or Rockstar in any way. They know about the event, and they just, making sure that I don't, for instance, the typical outlaw slogan they have, "Outlaws for Life." I can't use that. I had it on the T-shirts uh, for the first event when I was going to, sell these T-shirts, and I had "Outlaws for Life" in the back, and they made a point that, no, we own that slogan, and could you kindly remove that? And I did, and they were like, thank you, and that was that. So I don't
Yeah.
want to. I try not to use anything that, the likenesses of Arthur or any of the other characters, out of respect for them.
Okay,
Um,
that's totally understandable.
I've tried to create characters that we can assume is John or any of the other ones, but it isn't. And this next artwork is going to be pretty cool. And
Could you
it's
give yeah, I don't I know you
I
probably don't
don't
want to spoil it,
I
but
don't want to spoil it because it's contingent upon contracts. And I'm going to
okay,
tell you,
okay.
once contracts are signed, we're gonna be hitting the road. That train is going to be friggin' going down the tracks, and then
Hmm.
I'm going to start loading up all this art. And
I wanted to ask just one quick question. I know it's an absolute long shot, but I, given that all the actors and stuff are here, I found it very odd that no one suggested maybe making like a short film or something during the event, or if that would take too much out of it. Um, what would be your kind of thoughts on that? If that was
uh,
okay with their agents, or I don't know, it could get too messy that I wouldn't
well,
understand too much about.
the actors actually really don't have too many connections with Rockstar directly. It's not like they're emailing and Rockstar's emailing them back. Our contracts, without going into them, we really don't touch base on certain things, but we understand that we got to make sure, like autographs, they have the autograph of their character. They don't own the rights to that. However, they're not selling you the actual picture. You're buying their autograph. The picture is free. So
Hmm.
that's, kind of like the common atmosphere of what everyone's accepted to be common, in the industry. As far as making uh, footage of them, and being creative and stuff, I've never thought about that. And I'm game. Why, you got something in mind?
Oh God, it would be a it'd be a massive jump if I did have something in mind. But I don't know, just the idea. I've always loved to have done like a short, like real life Western film and maybe have a
Yeah.
couple of cameos. Um, but I mean, hey, it would
So,
be it'd be a crazy
all right. So
thing.
then we'll table that discussion, and we'll stay in touch with that, and let's build on that. But I have a question for you. All right. So, um, I'm going to be, in Deadwood. We had Harriet do interviews for us. She did a magnificent job, and I don't think Harriet's coming this year. But if you're coming, would you be open to, if I gave you like 10 minutes with each actor to do interviews?
I would be absolutely down to do that. Yes, please.
Okay,
Um,
start your questions now so you're ready
okay.
for. So I'll let
Would
you
you be
do the
able to
interviews.
DM me quietly? I'll promise not to share, but just let
Okay.
me know who's coming.
Okay. All
And
right.
I'll keep quiet about that.
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely. Is there any way, like, would this be going on the official Tombstone Redemption account,
Yeah,
or?
so I've been wanting to build that site up and that site up, and I did it myself. It's not like I've got, like I said, I don't have this crew that's doing everything with me. So I'm going to try and build on that website again,
Hmm.
even more. And I thought if we had an area where it's all fan films and fan pictures, and have that on there. So yeah, I'm open to talking with you about that. And then, but yeah, I'll let you know about the list of people that's coming in. I'm going to tell you, it'd be pretty funny now that I'm thinking about it. If Mick came and Harrison came, and then we sit them together, that'd be pretty fun.
Just get all the Irish people just sitting in one room. Get Roger in there and Penny if she's
So,
coming as well. Um,
so
yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% down for that. I'd love to do that.
all right,
Um,
cool.
look, I'll leave you to it then, and I appreciate you coming on. And sure, we'll chat again soon. All right.
All righty, man.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one, Alan.